What's going on, everyone? Welcome to a new episode of Hey, man! What are you supposed to be Michael Myers? I'm supposed to be Jason. What are you doing?
No, I'm Jason. You're Michael Myers, man.
You messed this up. We got some spooky movies for you today. Kinda.
They're spooky, but for reasons that, sad reasons.
Exactly. First up on the chopping block for this spooky night is Spiral from the Book of Saw.
Play me.
Hello, Detective Banks.
This is a movie, for some reason, starring Chris Rock. Okay. Yeah. And this story comes from him. This apparently is the same director of Saw 2. And gotta tell you, people, it doesn't show. Doesn't show one bit.
Yeah, this is a rough one, man. This is a rough one. I watched it with like my mouth open. I was like, I could not believe how bizarre and amateurish this whole film felt. It felt like a student film or like your cousin put together a film, and you want to be nice to it because you could tell they tried. But wow, it wasn't just bad, in my opinion. It wasn't just bad, like story bad, but it was like technically bad. Like I've never seen a movie where I could just like feel the production going. It was rough, and I had a hard time watching this film, and I felt embarrassed that Chris Rock and Samuel L. Jackson signed up for this movie.
He'll take that check. He'll take that check.
He
now,
will.
People, this story in this, like I said, comes from Chris Rock, and he feels that he can bring a new twist on things from the perspective of there being bad cops. And Samuel L. Jackson used to be the head of this department that was letting all these bad cops do bad things in the city.
We didn't really see any of the bad things that he did. They were just like, your father, he allowed bad things to happen in the city, but they weren't very explicit. The corruption, we never got to see. It was like amateur hour in the movie theater. It was so bad. So broadly speaking, apparently Jigsaw is back. And they're like, no, it can't be, because Jigsaw is dead. So this must be some sort of a copycat. So they find a body in the subway, and he's been demolished. And so Chris Rock is the first cop at the scene. So he's the one who takes points. And all these cops are trying to figure out how is Jigsaw back, and why is he targeting the police? And all of this stuff sounds really interesting, and I can see why Chris Rock might have been attracted to this. But the execution is atrocious. It's really bad. It's really amateurish, and it's embarrassing. His acting kind of felt like his stand-up. Yep. Like the whole thing starts off with him giving this long speech in which no one says anything to him. He's just giving a speech, again, like his stand-up, talking about like Forrest Gump. And I'm like, oh my God, is this where we started with Forrest Gump?
Forrest Gump was special needs, man. What was the name of the girl?
Jenny.
He did everything for Jenny. This motherfucker did some shit.
It doesn't get any better. It's very amateurish, and I'm not sure how to even talk about this film because it's really bad. This is probably the worst film that I've seen released in theaters in a long time.
Even though it says from the Book of Saw, where the hell is the book? You know what I'm saying?
I've seen the Saw films, but I don't remember any books or anything like that. So I'm not even sure what that means. I understand why someone might be attracted to this topic, but the execution is just terrible. It feels like a parody, like an 80s parody. Like Chris Rock's boss. Yep. She's like when you first meet her, she's essentially like yeah, she's got her hand on the dash. She's like, "You're a loose cannon." Blah, blah. I'm like, what the heck? It felt really bad, like a parody.
Damn it! I hate due process.
You're a loose cannon, meow meow, fussy face.
I just think you play by your own rules.
No way. He thinks rules were made to be broken.
These are all attributes of a loose cannon.
Now give me your badge and your gun.
Yeah. Well, she was about to. She was like, this is your last chance. but you're getting a partner this time. And I'm like, oh, okay. 80s buddy cop movie. It's terrible. A lot of the flashbacks feature Chris Rock and Sam Jackson, and they both have really bad, like, fake facial hair. It's really bad. Like, that's a fake mustache. It's embarrassing. I'm like, what is happening here?
Get the fuck out of my face, Zeke.
And you can see all the bad facial hair, and then Samuel L. Jackson coming around the corner, and he's like, which one of you motherfuckers was near my son when he called for backup? At least 2 of y'all motherfuckers was here, you know?
My son called for backup 3 times in 8 minutes, so none of you motherfuckers can get here?
But you make it sound so much more entertaining than what actually happened. What actually happened was not entertaining at all. It was cringy.
He looked like Steve Harvey.
Yeah, he did. He had a Steve Harvey mustache. You're right. He had a Steve Harvey mustache.
People, we're going to do you the favor. Stay away from this. Don't even play it on your streaming device. Don't worry about it. Go watch Saw 1, Saw 2, which was directed and produced by James Wan. And James Wan had a producing credit on here just because he's connected to the name. So I'm going to go ahead and give my rating on this right now. The concept of it is good, you know, when it comes to killing corrupted cops and stuff like that. But the execution was really, really bad. With all that being said, and the editing was horrible. Good gosh. With all that being said, this gets a 2.5 out of me, man.
It wasn't bad, so bad it's funny. It wasn't so bad it was funny. It was like bad as in like cringy, uncomfortable bad. So I got to give this movie like a 1.5. I understand what we're going for. I get it. Corrupt cops or something, and I see how that's socially relevant and all this stuff. But the execution, terrible. Chris Rock, awful choice to lead this film. Even he seemed to be like a bad actor in this film. Sam Jackson, again, I get it. He's just out here collecting checks here. But boy, man, I don't know if you got to dig in the dirt this bad. Man, he does Marvel movies and stuff. You don't have to do this no more. What is going on? Skip it. And if you're a fan of Saw, this is going to be downright insulting to you. Like, you're not going to like this at all.
I gave this movie a 2.5. Devin gave this movie a 1.5. Save yourself some brain cells and go watch something else. That is our review for Spiral from the Book of Saw. There's no book.
Hello, Detective Banks.
Next up on the chopping block, we have Michael Myers himself returning again in Halloween Kills.
My grandmother was right. The boogeyman was real.
It's over.
We can't hurt anyone ever again.
No one told you.
Told me what?
Halloween Kills takes place immediately right after Laurie Strode. She thinks she burned him alive in his basement and traps him down there. But the firemen are coming along to come save him and get him out of there. And he turns into John Wick. But we'll get to that part in a minute.
You know, I had a question about that actually in the film. So like in the commercial and in the very beginning of this film, we see her freaking out when she sees the fire trucks going to put out the fire. And she's like, no, let him burn, let him burn. Later in the film, she's like, we got him. We got him. Thank God we got him. Like, does she not remember freaking out? So I feel like when she was like, let him burn, I think that was they shot that for the trailer. Yeah. They didn't shoot that for this film.
Yeah.
And it didn't actually make any sense in the context of the
those
film.
two did not match up. My opinion of this film, every person in the city needs to die with a like a bomb or nuke or some type of cataclysmic zombie epidemic that they're just contained, like Army of the Dead. something in there where they all die. You want to know why? Because everyone in this town is a dumbass. All of them.
What I think you're responding to is when Michael Myers returns, the whole town gets together, they all freak out, and they all kind of form some sort of a mob to get Michael Myers. And everybody, the whole town's focus is on this one guy. So instead of them being like these passive people like they've been in other films, the whole town is super active. And they're like, we're going to kill Michael Myers. At one point, the mob gets out of control and kills an innocent man. And so I think what the movie's trying to say is that the true evil is the town. And I think the movie is saying that to such an extent that I'm not sure if Michael Myers even exists. I think Michael Myers is some sort of like an energy or a feeling or a thought, like that evil thing in the back of your head that makes you angry, makes you feel rage. I think Michael Myers is the personification of that. And that's why when you aim your rage at him, it doesn't hurt him. It might hurt him, but it doesn't kill him, right? So he gets up from the most ridiculous injuries ever. He's been burned alive, he's been shot in the face, he's been stabbed in the back and the arm, and he keeps getting up. And I think that's because Michael Myers, I don't think actually exists. I think he's some sort of a personification of this town's rage. And I think this town is supposed to be like representative of, I don't know, America, like just small town America, and that like mob like mentality they can have, and that evil nasty thing that sometimes is under some small towns. So from that point of view, I understood what the town was doing. Like I understood what the writer was trying to get to. That's not to say this is some sort of like super deep movie. You know what I'm saying? This isn't some sort of great character study, but like I was watching it and like I got it. And to be honest, I was entertained. I was quite surprised. I came to this movie ready to be bored, and I was a lot more entertained than I thought I'd be.
Yeah, I wasn't bored. You know, I was entertained, but I feel like I was entertained for the wrong purposes because it's like it made me laugh.
It wasn't like an accident. Like there are spots in fuck movie we just watched, Spiral, Book of Saw, where things were funny and strange, but it was an accident. You could tell they had there was like tone deaf. They didn't know. This movie is written by Danny McBride, a comedian. Mother Nature just pissed her pants soon. So I feel like he added the humor in for a reason. And maybe you didn't find the humor funny, but I thought the humor made sense to me. Like I understood why you would add humor into a horror film, because humor and horror kind of shake hands in your mind somehow. Like that, which is one of the reasons why they rhyme. And I think that's one of the reasons why Dan McBride is a good horror writer for Halloween. That's why Jordan Peele is a good horror writer for like Us and Get Out. Like I get it. If your movie has some sort of internal logic, it doesn't even have to make complete sense. It just has to have some sort of internal logic and have something to say, something on its mind. Fine, I'm okay. But that last movie, Spiral, had nothing on its mind. It had nothing to say. It was like pretending to be deep. It was like fake deep. It was like a high schooler trying to be deep or something. Like it was embarrassing. But this film to me had something to say, and I appreciated the humor. So I found some of the humor pretty funny.
Yeah.
But one of the things I thought was weird about the film, and that was off-putting for me, at least initially, before I understood what this film was doing, was the cruelty of the kills. Like he didn't just kill people, but he killed people like in the cruelest way. Like he would stalk like elderly people and then pose their bodies. Or he'll have like there was a gay couple, and he had them. He killed them in front of each other too, and also posed their bodies. Like it was like mean spirited. There's a doctor and a nurse. They were a couple. They were killed also in front of each other, and the shot just like lingers on their like dead bodies. I was like, oh my god, it was so like mean spirited. But I think that was the point, in that the people were mean spirited, and most of these people ended up accidentally killing themselves. Like I understood exactly. I understood the theme of the film. Like I got it. I was there for it. There was a character, a little boy who ran into Mike Myers when he was a little kid in the 70s, and he was sure Mike Myers was going to hack him to pieces. But instead, Mike Myers didn't. He just walked on by. And now, in modern day, he's angry, and he like angrily attacks Mike Myers, and Mike Myers stuffs his ass in the attic, right? He gets destroyed, you know. And I think exactly, and I think that's because
he folded his son too.
Yeah, it sure did. And I think that's because his rage, when he was a kid, he was afraid for himself. He feared for his own life. I think Mike Myers let him go by. But in this one, he had rage in his heart, and he aimed it at Mike Myers, and he got his ass roasted for it.
Okay, so if Michael Myers is not real, and he is a depiction of the town's hatred and stuff, like, who's really killing these people?
You're not supposed to take what you're saying literally, right? He's a personification of rage, and they're talking about. And I think the film is saying rage can't be killed with rage, right? You can't direct rage at rage and have it calm down, right? It only gets bigger, it only gets stronger, right? And that's kind of how Mike Myers is. The more you attack Mike Myers, the more seemingly invincible he is. But you can contain Michael Myers, because there was a guy who did not shoot Michael Myers when he had every right to. He set his gun down. He was a cop. He told everybody not to shoot Michael Myers, and they didn't, and they arrested him, and they had Michael Myers in jail for like 40 years. So because he didn't direct hate and rage at Mike Myers. Like, I kind of got it. Like, I got the film. I get it.
But then in the first film, when the hate and rage came back with the mask and stuff like that, and he was like,
yeah, exactly. He rose up.
I'm going to go ahead and give my rating on this film. This film is currently in theaters, also streaming on Peacock if you got it. I just didn't like how stupid the town, I feel, is when it came to trying to kill him. It's just fun. It's just fun, and it's stupid, and it's also funny. But I did like the cinematography in it. It was shot very well, and the flashbacks that they had to the 70s, to where it like had with the by the night where he was first doing all the murders and stuff like that. It was reshot, and it looked like it was in the 70s. So I'm like, okay, cool, that's awesome, you know. So, and the kills were really, really gruesome, and not just gruesome, like you said, cruel. I'm gonna give this film a 6 out of 10 for me.
I think that's about on par. This film it's an awkward film, because we know it's the middle entry in what's supposed to be some sort of Halloween trilogy, because they've already announced that there's a third one called Halloween Ends. So to me, this was awkward. It was an awkward film. So you gave it a 6.5. I think I'm gonna give it a 7. I gave this movie a 6.5.
Devin gave this movie a 7, and that is our review for the latest Halloween Kills.
You want your mask? Come and get it!
I'm coming for you, Michael.
I thank you for clicking on this video. It really does mean a lot to us. Do us a favor, hit that subscribe button, okay? And hit the notification bell to stay up to date with everything we do on Mostly Wrong Opinions, all right? It's like really simple. It don't take rocket scientists or even the biggest gesture in the world to click a button. So, you know, if you did like our commentary and our review on this video, please leave that thumbs up. If you didn't like it, go ahead and leave that thumbs down if you want. Whatever it is your opinion, but just remember one thing, people. It's mostly wrong.